Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION The World is One. This is Speed News. Let's start. Tsunamis hit parts of Russia's Far East and Japan after a huge magnitude 8.8 earthquake with warnings in place around the Pacific of waves of over 3 meters in places. Russia's emergencies ministry said a tsunami hit and flooded the port town of Severodvinsk, where the population of around 2,000 people was evacuated. Videos posted on Russian social media show buildings in the town submerged in seawater. State media reported several people were injured in Russia by the quake, but none of them seriously. Tsunami alerts have also been issued in Japan's coastal areas from Hokkaido to Kyushu. Japan's weather agency said waves of up to 3 meters high could hit 3 areas, including Hokkaido and other parts of eastern and southern Japan later in the day. Workers at the stricken Fukushima nuclear plant in northeast Japan have been evacuated. France Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said that France will airdrop 40 tons of aid into Gaza from Friday. The move comes as UN-backed experts warned that the war-ravaged region is slipping into famine. Concern has escalated in the past week about hunger in Gaza after more than 21 months of war. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said Monday that Germany would work with Jordan to airlift humanitarian aid into Gaza and that it is coordinating this closely with France and the UK.
We feel
And Israel said that it rejected Prime Minister Keir Starmer's announcement that Britain will recognize a Palestinian state unless Israel acts to end the war in Gaza. Israel added that the move constitutes a reward for Hamas and harms efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. Prime Minister Keir Starmer had said that UK is prepared to recognize a Palestinian state in September at the UN General Assembly in response to growing public anger over the images of starving children in the Gaza Strip. Starmer spoke a day after talks in Scotland with US President Donald Trump, who said that he did not mind if Britain recognized a Palestinian state, though Washington, Israel's closest ally, has long declined to do so. A man who gunned down 4 people in a Manhattan skyscraper may have targeted the American Football League, is what reports are suggesting. The gunman, identified as Shane Tamura, was a former high school football player and left a note complaining that the sport had given him the brain injury known as CTE. Tamura shot and killed an off-duty police officer and 3 other victims before killing himself on the 33rd floor at 345 Park Avenue building. He also shot and seriously injured an employee of the National Football League, which has corporate offices in the skyscraper. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said that a handwritten note was found in the gunman's wallet. The Indian Space Research Organisation and NASA are set to launch their collaborative Earth observation satellite, NISAR, That's going to happen today at 5:40 p.m. local IST from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. Valued at $1.5 billion, the mission aims to revolutionize the way we monitor Earth's surface, particularly in tracking natural disasters and environmental changes. NISAR is a landmark project, marking the first time the Earth will be observed using dual-frequency synthetic aperture radars, NASA's L-band and ISRO's S-band. Weighing almost 2,400 kilograms, the satellite will be carried into space aboard India's GSLV F-16 rocket. India has initiated its first diplomatic outreach to Syria's transitional government, led by Ahmad al-Shara, since the fall of the Assad regime last year. An Indian delegation headed by M. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary of the West Asia and North Africa Department at the Ministry of External Affairs, met Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shebani and Health Minister Musab al-Ali in Damascus. Both countries are exploring ways to enhance bilateral relations and strengthen ties. The meetings emphasized on strengthening ties in healthcare, particularly in pharmaceutical manufacturing and medical training, as well as drug exports.
الله أكبر الله أكبر هنا من داخل السجن المركزي في مدينة حما.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced that the government will include YouTube in its ban on social media for teenagers under 16. The Australian government's decision to include YouTube in the social media ban for teenagers follows a recent recommendation from the country's internet regulator. The regulator cited a survey revealing that 37% of minors reported encountering harmful content on YouTube. However, YouTube argued that it shouldn't be blocked for under 16s, as it is not a social media service and its platform offers benefits and value to younger Australians. Donald Trump has said that a trade agreement with India has not been finalized, and this is just 2 days before the August 1st deadline. Trump added that India has been a good friend, but India charges basically more tariffs than almost any other country. Donald Trump's comments come after a US trade official signaled that more discussions are necessary before reaching a deal with India. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said negotiations are ongoing, pointing out India's clear interest in opening parts of its market, though its policies have long emphasized protecting homegrown industries. Trump has said that he fell out with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein poached young women who worked at Trump's Mar-a-Lago Beach Club Spa. The president made the remarks as he returned from Scotland, where he faced questions over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Speaking about the fallout, Trump stated that he had told Epstein to stop hiring staff from Mar-a-Lago after finding his actions inappropriate. When Epstein repeated his behavior, Trump claims that he terminated their association. The White House previously even stated that Trump had thrown out Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club 2 decades ago. The Sri Lankan Navy arrested 14 Indian fishermen from Tamil Nadu and captured 2 fishing boats on Monday night for allegedly crossing international maritime boundaries. According to the Sri Lankan Navy, the fishermen were arrested during operations conducted to curb illegal fishing practices in Sri Lankan waters, during which the Northwestern and North Central Naval Commands spotted a group of Indian fishing boats that were allegedly engaged in illegal fishing by trespassing into Sri Lankan waters. Meanwhile, Fishermen Association from Rameshwaram condemned the continuing arrest of fishermen by Sri Lankan Navy and urged the union government to address the issues. They sought a permanent solution and demanded that arrested fishermen must be brought back. The King of Morocco reiterated his call for talks with Algeria to repair relations damaged by disputes over the Western Sahara. In a speech marking his 26th anniversary on the throne, Mohammed says Morocco is ready for a frank and responsible dialogue to repair strained ties over the Western Sahara dispute.
La distribución de kits alimentarios, tiendas y mantas.
A zoo in the German city of Nuremberg said that it killed 12 baboons on Tuesday despite protests. The zoo first announced plans to kill these baboons it didn't have space for in February of 2024. It examined offers to take in some of the animals but was unable to make any of them work. Animal rights groups said they filed a criminal complaint against the zoo's management, who argued that the killings violate animal protection laws and that the zoo has failed in its breeding management. Spanish forest rangers have been deployed in areas around the town of El Arnal, around 100 kilometers west of Madrid, as wildfires raged in central Spain. More than 200 firefighters battled to contain a wildfire in central Spain on Tuesday, as residents in the town of Montbeltran were ordered to remain inside due to the smoke. Spain has introduced a fresh travel warning on the Canary Islands after temperatures soared and strong winds fanned out an out-of-control wildfire. The Canary Islands government issued a wildfire alert on several islands, including Gran Canaria, Tenerife, as the mercury rises to 37 degrees Celsius. And firefighters are battling to contain a wildfire in North Portugal, one of more than a dozen blazes that have led to almost the whole country being put on high alert for fires. 10 major fires are burning, with 2 in the north and 3 in the center of the country, causing most concern. While Portugal faces wildfires every summer, experts say climate change is increasing the frequency and intensity of droughts and fires around the world.
E agora voltou a arder outra vez. É sim, homem. É para o espetáculo tem que ser.
In Jammu and Kashmir, authorities have ordered the closure of all government and private schools in Poonch and Rajouri districts due to inclement weather conditions. Monsoon rains in Rajouri and Poonch have led to a significant rise in the water levels of Dharali and Sakto rivers. Asian stocks edged higher on Wednesday, with gains led by Taiwan. Investors remain cautious after US-China trade talks ended without any tangible breakthroughs. Asia-Pacific index rose 0.3%, while Japan and Hong Kong lagged behind. All eyes are now on the US Federal Reserve's policy decision While the Fed is expected to hold rates steady, some members may push for cuts amid inflation concerns tied to tariffs. Market mood is also being shaped by key earnings. Microsoft and Meta report later today, with investors expecting standout results after a strong earnings season so far. Oil prices inched higher on Wednesday after jumping over 3% in the previous session. The gains come as fresh US threats to Russia raised fears of supply shortages. Both the Brent crude and the WTI hit their highest level since 20th of June. President Trump has given Moscow just 10 to 12 days now to act on ending the war in Ukraine, warning of 100% secondary tariffs on its trading partners if it fails to comply. Analysts say this could sharply disrupt Russian oil flows, especially to major US allies. While OPEC may ease some supply cuts, markets could still face a deficit. The euro held steady near a one-month low on Wednesday, weighed down by investor concerns over a lopsided US-EU trade pact and anticipation around central bank decisions. After steep losses this week, the euro edged up slightly but remains on track for its first monthly decline this year. The dollar index stayed firm near a one-month high as investors await key policy signals from the Federal Reserve and Bank of Japan. Meanwhile, analysts are skeptical of any real progress in the US-China trade talks, seeing it as symbolic and lacking in concrete enforcement. And Tesla has signed a $4.3 billion deal to source lithium iron phosphate or LFP batteries from South Korea's LG Energy solution. This deal marks Tesla's second major South Korean tie-up this month. Earlier this month, Tesla struck a $16.5 billion AI chip deal with Samsung Electronics. The batteries will be produced in the US and used for energy storage systems. The move comes as Tesla tries to reduce dependence on Chinese imports and high tariffs. LG Energy Solution confirmed a global supply deal but declined to name the customer, citing confidentiality. India's head coach Gautam Gambhir was involved in a heated argument with the pitch curator at the Oval. The Oval will host the fifth and final test featuring from Thursday, and the Indian team was practicing at the stadium earlier in the day. During the training session, cameras captured a clearly upset Gambhir getting into a verbal altercation with curator Lee Fortis. The curator was reportedly not happy with the Indian team using the majority of the main square for their training session. He was also concerned by a few players and coaches getting too close to the pitch. And Bend It Like Beckham Part 2 is now in the works. Filmmaker Gurinder Chadha has confirmed that a sequel to her 2002 cult classic Bend It Like Beckham is being worked on. The filmmaker made the announcement a day before the Women's European Championship final when she was at Basel, Switzerland. Chadha expressed her excitement of revisiting the original characters, while she didn't confirm if the original cast would be returning to reprise their roles. She added that cast members like Parminder Nagra and Keira Knightley are aware of the sequel's development. Released in 2002, the football comedy starring Indian origin teen who defies her conservative family to pursue her dreams of becoming a football player. It was a huge hit in the year 2002. The film also starred Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Archie Punjabi and Anupam Kher among others.